Chapter 6, The Sound of a Foundation Pouring. The Arthur Finch grant was the keystone. With the funding gap closed, the Waterfront Harmony Project, the official hopeful name we'd given the Bandshell and Park revival, shifted from a dream on paper to a fast-approaching reality. City permits were expedited. Construction firms began submitting bids. My life became a whirlwind of contractor meetings, material sample reviews, and tense negotiations with historical preservationists who wanted the Bandshell restored to its exact 1938 specifications, acoustical flaws and all. It was during one of these interminable meetings that I got the call. My phone buzzed on the conference table, the screen showing Susie's name. I excused myself and stepped into the hall. "Susie, everything okay?" I asked, keeping my voice low. We had our regular coffee, but a midweek call was unusual. Her voice was thin, strained. "It's Dad, he's in the hospital. St. Michael's, it's his heart." The words didn't compute at first. My father was Oliver Blake, a force of nature, a man of steel and strategy, not flesh and fallible arteries. "Is he?" "He's stable for now, but it's serious, Chris. A major cardiac event. The doctors are talking about a bypass. Mom's a wreck, she's asking for you." A cold wave washed over me, followed by a confusing surge of emotions I couldn't name. Panic, yes. A reflexive dread, but also a simmering old anger. Nosh asks for me. Now, when the walls are literally caving in, I leaned my forehead against the cool glass of the hallway window, watching the city move on, oblivious. "Chris, are you there?" "I'm here. What room?" St. Michael's Hospital was a bastion of quiet, sterile wealth. My father was in the cardiac intensive care unit, a place where money bought privacy and the illusion of control, but not health. The hushed corridor smelled of antiseptic and anxiety. Susie was waiting outside the room. She looked exhausted, her face pale. She hugged me tightly, a gesture that felt more desperate than affectionate. "He's sedated. They're prepping him for surgery tomorrow morning." I nodded, my throat tight. Through the partially open door, I could see my mother. She was sitting in a chair beside the bed, holding my father's limp hand. She looked small, older than her years, the carefully maintained facade utterly collapsed. The sight of her, so vulnerable, chipped away at the wall of my anger, leaving only a hollow ache. I pushed the door open. The room was filled with the soft, rhythmic beeps of monitors. My father lay in the bed, looking strangely shrunken amidst the tubes and wires. The formidable Oliver Blake was gone, replaced by a pale, sleeping stranger. My mother looked up. Her eyes, red-rimmed and swollen, met mine. For a long moment, we just stared at each other across the expanse of the hospital room, across the chasm of the last year. The silence was broken only by the machinery keeping my father alive. "Christopher," she whispered, his name a plea. I walked to the foot of the bed. I didn't go to her. I looked at my father, the man who had built an empire, who had orchestrated a lie that broke his family, who had offered me everything except the one thing I needed. Lying there, he was just a man, a fragile, failing man. The doctor said stress was a major factor, my mother said softly, her gaze fixed on my father's face. The lawsuits, the scandal, the board forcing him out, it was too much. He couldn't let it go. He kept fighting, kept trying to fix it, to control the narrative. "Some narratives can't be fixed," I said, my voice sounding foreign in the quiet room. "They can only be ended." She flinched. "Is that what you want, for it to end?" She finally looked at me, her eyes swimming with tears. "Do you hate us that much?" The question hung in the antiseptic air. Did I hate them? The heat of that hatred had fueled me for months, a clean, burning flame. But looking at them now, broken, scared, human, the hatred had banked to embers, leaving behind the cold, heavy residue of grief. Grief for the parents I'd had and grief for the parents I'd never had. "I don't hate you," I said, the truth of it surprising me. "I'm just done, but that doesn't mean I want him to die." A single tear traced a path down her cheek. "He asks about you, you know, not out loud, he'd never admit it. But sometimes when he thinks no one is listening, he'll mutter about the Waterfront Project. He follows the news. He has alerts set up for your